Good morning. Thank you. Let's stop right kicking over your mics. Good morning. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity to speak directly to our public here in San Joaquin County and the rest of the state to let them know a few updates of what's going on with our mass shooting investigation. There's not a whole lot I'll be able to give you, not a lot of meat on the bone right now, unfortunately, as far as the details of what all the information they're going through, all the evidence that they're going through, and but I can give you a few things. So starting off, we now have determined with the help of ATF and the Department of Justice that there were over 50 shell casings that were found on scene at the scene of this birthday party. That means at least 50 rounds that went off at this birthday party. Along with that, so far we've been able to determine that there were at least 5 different firearms that were fired at this birthday party. A birthday party that killed 3 innocent children and a young adult. So as you can imagine, we have a lot to process with all that type of evidence and the detail that we need to go into to try and determine how many actors we had involved in this and how many people were actually shooting, because if there was 5 different firearms, that doesn't mean there were 5 different suspects. So we've had at least 50 plus tips come in on our tip line at the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office and Crime Stoppers. I would ask people to continue to provide information as they learn about this shooting, this mass murder, and to continue to help us on this. I want people to know that they can remain anonymous. And so when you give a tip at the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office, I just learned this myself the other day, you remain anonymous because it comes in, it goes through a third-party vendor, and then back to us, so that we have no access to who has called this in or who has given us a piece of video or whatever it is, that information that you have. We have no way of telling where that came from. It won't come out in court, it won't come out in our reports, because it's totally anonymous. So that's huge. If you're afraid to come forward on this, please come forward on this. You know, another thing I want to touch on is that there's been a lot of talk about whether this was gang related or not. And I've told you all along that we cannot determine whether this is gang related or not. Obviously, we know that there were known gang members at this party, but we do not know whether that was the reason or the motive of this shooting. So we're going to take our time and gather all our information and process it. We are blessed. We are partnering with ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives, with the FBI, with the U.S. Attorney's Office, with Stockton PD, obviously our DA's office, and my entire crew. And then every other agency in our county has offered services. All our state partners. I got off the phone with the commissioner of CHP last night, who has offered any assistance we need from them. So everyone is offering their assistance, and we're taking all the assistance that we need and can, and we'll access other in the future if need be. So I'm asking the public to be patient. I know this is going to be difficult, but this is not going to be in a week or two we've got an answer and we start arresting people. You have to know that. Okay, this is going to take months to process all this, figure out who did this, because you've been asking me for descriptions on the people that did this. Well, the only information we're getting so far from the folks that were at the scene was that the people involved in this were dressed all in black and had face coverings. So all you could see was this. So that's why we haven't been asking for anything. But that doesn't mean we don't know who they are, or don't believe we know who they are, or might know who they are, or people might tell us that they think these people are involved. We just need to follow the evidence to prove who was there, who did this heinous act, and that's going to take a lot of time. But I am very confident in our investigators, and with all the support that we have, throughout the state and the federal government that we will come to a successful conclusion. You know, as we've seen just recently on the news, it took 5.5 years to find one guy who was putting out some pipe bombs in Washington, D.C., but they got him. And that's because they took their time and they processed their evidence and they followed the evidence as it came in. So I don't think it's going to take us 5 years, but if it does, then we'll work it for 5 years. But I think we'll be able to come to a successful resolution by doing the same thing, processing it, taking our time, and being very, very accurate about the information that we come through, the evidence that comes up, and how we deal with it. So I'll take some questions if you have some.
If I could just start with asking, based on what you just said, it doesn't mean you don't know who it is. Would you be able to tell us, do you think you know who it is? And also, with a week gone by now and no suspect descriptions released, with surveillance cameras, flock cameras, images available to your investigative unit, what is the strategy behind not releasing any images?
Well, a couple different questions there, but I think your one point that the images are available, but that doesn't mean we've had the time to go through the thousands of hours of images or cameras or things like that to possibly identify somebody. Have we had tips come in with names and things like that? Absolutely. You know, people online have been saying things like that as we've been following those. But we need to be able to prove those type of things. And so we can't say right now that, yes, we definitely know who these people were. But we have a tremendous amount of leads that is going to take a tremendous amount of time to go through and slowly narrow it down and catch these guys.
Sheriff, you mentioned 5 firearms discovered at the scene, but you said you don't know if you're looking for 5 suspects. Can you confirm if people inside the birthday party were shooting back at the suspects, and whether or not the firearms found on a roof of a nearby building are those same firearms?
I can tell you, first of all, let me correct one thing. I didn't say that we found 5 firearms on scene. I said it was the shell casings. Tell us that there were at least 5 firearms, maybe more, because we're still processing those. And and we did find firearms on top of the roof. I do not know if ATF has tied that to these shell casings as being some of the firearms that were discharged there yet. But we have at least 5 firearms that we know were used. It doesn't mean that we have them in our possessions. All that evidence came off of the shell casings at the scene at this time.
Can you confirm that the people inside the party, whether or not they were shooting back at the suspects?
I cannot confirm that at this time. We have, detailed evidence that we collected at the scene and trajectories and all that has to be gone through and they. At some time during this investigation, we will be able to determine what direction those rounds were traveling, and that will give us information of where shooters were standing and what direction they were shooting.
Are you able to say what kind of weapons may have been used in this? And also, I have a different question. I know that the Sheriff's Office has decided not to publicize the names of the victims. The families have. I just wanted to see why you guys did that this evening.
Okay, we are not going to talk about the caliber or the type of firearms that were used in this, and we're not publicizing the names right now. It's really not my place. The medical examiner is the one who deals with the families and the deceased. That we used to do that as coroners. We don't do that anymore, and I'm very cautious about that. I've known over the years when I used to be a deputy coroner that to be very cautious about mentioning names and things like that. And so I'm going to leave that up to the families and the loved ones to make sure that all their loved ones have been notified and nobody gets traumatized even more because they didn't know a family friend, a loved one, a family member was a victim of this case.
Sheriff, the thousands of hours of video, I imagine some of it is surveillance. What other sources have you gotten video from, whether it's from people, from businesses? Where's the video coming from?
You know, as you know, nowadays, we're all on camera all the time. So we're accepting video evidence and gathering video evidence from every possible location that we can. So as you can imagine, we'll obviously try and find video evidence around the scene of the crime, and out from there. We'll take video evidence from anyone who will send it in on our tip line. You can download it there, again, anonymously, and we'll go through that frame by frame to see anything that we can out. So you can imagine there's going to be a tremendous amount of video to go through, and our federal partners at the FBI and our guys and Stockton PD and DAI, we're all going through that as quick as possible to try and start narrowing the scope of this investigation down.
We have time for one more question.
Just to follow up on what you just said, so there is a lot of video evidence, but I believe you said in your initial response to me that you haven't been able to go through it all. It's been a week.
Yeah.
Have you been able to identify these suspects on video at any point following the shooting?
I'm unaware of whether they've identified anyone at this time as being part of that shooting on that video evidence. Now, that doesn't mean that we think that somebody might have been involved in this or something like that, but at this time, I have not been briefed on anyone particular being identified via video evidence at this time. And one last one.
Shots were fired into the house across the street during the event. Did that suggest people at the party returned fire?
It could or it could not. We're going to have to look into that, and it could be as the guys are turning to run away. They could be firing. Who knows what direction those came from? We don't know if they're related to this incident or was it a prior incident. So we're going to look into all that and determine the direction that people were firing, but that hasn't come out yet. One more.
Sorry, Sheriff, just last question for you. You mentioned that you don't have the suspect description. Was there some type of getaway car involved in this, that those suspects were able to get away so quickly without people, getting a better look at them, or a description for that type of vehicle?
I don't have a description or anything like that. I'm assuming, just like you, that obviously they left the scene somehow. I don't know what the mode of that transportation was at this time, but we'll be looking into that, and I'm sure we'll figure that out.
Thank you.
So thank you all for coming out this morning, and we'll try and keep you up to date on anything that we can release. We meet regularly, and my PIO team, who I think we all work well with, will keep you up to date and let you know. So God bless you and your families, and thank you so much. Appreciate it.